couple months ago, I made a video talking about the dbrand Killswitch as I had just bought it and was trying to generally just give my thoughts on it as like an immediate, like, oh, I just got it, here's my thoughts video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences with the grip since it's been basically 3 months of owning it, my overall thoughts on it, and just generally why I thought it was a decent grip, but just not for me, and the grip that instead what I define as my new Endgame grip, and just a thing that seems to have completely worked for me. So as I always say before these bits, I'm not sponsored, I'm not endorsed, I'm not being influenced in any capacity to speak about these products in any sort of way. This is just, I paid for these myself, this is something that I'm recommending or talking about. I'm not sponsored, that's just my main point. So I figured we get started. So first we'll check in on the Killswitch because, you know, that's obviously the best place to start since that's what this video is mostly about, is checking in on that grip. And you might notice actually that I don't have it on right now. Like, I have the thumbsticks on. I'm a big fan of the thumbsticks, which spoiler, but I have my grips here. I'm gonna be fully honest, I was trying to get these on before I started recording and they were just not going on, and I was a bit concerned about fighting them to get them on the console. So unfortunately I couldn't get them back on, but that's not going to impede my thoughts on this. I just wanted to note that that's kind of why this is a bit of like a weird setup right now. So I think the main thing I want to bring up about the Killswitch first and foremost is just that, like, I still think the quality of the thing is fantastic. The Killswitch is a very, 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 very well-made grip, and as I said, this is not a slander video, this is not a I hate the Killswitch video, this is not I think the Killswitch sucks video. This is a I think the Killswitch is really good, it's just not what I needed video, if that makes any sense. So I love the build quality. As I said, this thing looks awesome. I love the way you kind of get that like really premium feeling effect for the console when everything's put together. It just looks really good in my opinion. All the materials, the build quality, the travel cover, it's a very, 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 very good bundle in my opinion. And I could still very highly recommend it. It's just that, as I said, it wasn't perfect for me. So I think the one thing I will get into first and foremost is actually the grips themselves, as I said. The grips are good in my opinion. The main problem I kept running into with them was that they just kind of lack like wrappability, if that makes sense. They definitely feel very molded and kind of built around balancing both ergonomics but also like aesthetics overall. Like the Killswitch just feels like partly like an aesthetic product, which is fine for presentation's sake. I think that's completely an understandable thing for the company to do. However, I do think this is also potentially problematic if you're just after something that's just instantly comfortable. As I said, grips are very comfortable. They feel good to hold. You know, they mold around the hands very nicely. It's just that they tend to be a bit like clunky and like kind of tight for me. It could just be my hand size. One thing I will say though is that I do have relatives and I do have family members who have tested out these grips. I've had them do blind tests. I have had one family member who consistently always says the Killswitch is her favorite. So there is very much a, you know, your hand size will vary. Like the Killswitch could just be the most comfortable for you because your hand size is built for it. It's just that my hand size is a little too big for it. So again, you know, if you're like, oh man, these grips, you know, you're just concerned about size, then I would definitely consider looking elsewhere for just an overall grip. So actually, one other thing too, I actually got a really good comment on my other Killswitch video. Someone asked me about the, what was it? Oh my goodness. Palm rests. They asked, how does it feel in the palm? Like specifically, does it dig into your palms? I thought that was a really, really good question. And I wanted to highlight that person because again, this is useful information. I think my answer was more of like, I guess yes, but also no. You do kind of feel a dig and it can be problematic. For me, it personally wasn't. I got this comment before going on. I was on an airplane for about 2 hours with my Switch, and I was able to just thoroughly feel for them. I did not find that my palms felt like they were being dug into really at all, but you kind of can feel that like feeling of like, oh, something's in my palm. Oh, my console just blanked out. Well, but you can kind of sense that like, oh, there's something digging into me. So if you're very sensitive to that, if you don't like that, I would steer clear of the Killswitch because this may be a point against it. There definitely are more grips out there that would be better accommodated for you. I think if I had to recommend some off of like the top of my head, let me think. I guess the JSaw, the split case, the Genki attack vector, that one's a bit big though. The Satisfy Zen grip, those are all good options if you want grips that aren't really diggy on the palms. I would definitely recommend looking to those grips instead. So What else? I guess just some general like things that happened. One thing I will say is that I love these thumbsticks and they're very, very comfortable. I'm just not a big fan of the general Switch like thumbsticks that they come with when you buy the console. I just don't like how rubbery they feel, and it just kind of irks me a little bit. These are stupendous, so I love like the tactility and like the general just sharpness of them. I will say though, I noticed a bunch of, I'm trying to get this to focus, I don't know if it will, but you could kind of see some like white residue build up on here. I try to like clean it off every now and then, but it just seems to build up like crazy on this compared to this controller, and that can be a bit annoying in my opinion. That's one thing I'm not a huge fan of, but it's not something that keeps me from not wanting the kill switch, basically. So what else? One other thing too I actually found kind of surprising. So they have the dock adapter, right? I think it's a really, really neat solution. However, one thing that did happen for me in my situation was that they put friction pads on the newer one, so that way when you take it, it's a lot more of like a seamless way to take it out of the dock, instead of the whole dock adapter kind of just pulling off the dock with the switch. It kind of stays in place while you pull the console off. However, one thing that happened to me was I put it in a just storing it away to travel in the car, and when I came out, the friction pad was completely like loose. It seems to be glued on rather than like properly attached to the dock, so it kind of leaves a sense of like it could be sensitive to movement. As long as you could slide it back into place, it doesn't really present an issue. However, that was a concern of mine. That is something I think should be brought up. As I said, do I think this is a reason but you avoid the kill switch? No, unless it is a major issue for you. You should be fine, in my opinion. And I think just overall on the kill switch, it's a very good grip. I keep saying that, it's a good grip. It's just not what I needed. It resolves a lot of issues. It helps with ergonomics. It's a very good build quality. I feel like I could probably drop it and it wouldn't break. It's very protective. You get a very good bundle for it. So if you're still interested in the kill switch by any chance, definitely consider go checking out my first video on the kill switch specifically. I actually talk a lot more in depth about the kill switch, and I actually use it myself and talk a lot more through like what it's about and stuff. This is more so just an update on it. But if you want, even I did a full-length buyer's guide on like what to kind of go for with the kill switch and like what is the best way to approach buying it. So if any of that happens to seem interesting to you, definitely consider go checking that out. I think that's a pretty good watch, in my opinion, at least, if you're just wanting some kind of guidance on this. So without further ado, I might as well talk about what I'm defining as my Endgame Grip, which pretty much I took it and was like, yep, this is the grip. And this is the Savage Raven Fishing Grip. This is a pretty new one. I was very surprised by these. When these came out, I was like, oh, damn, like, it was a new Savage Raven Grip. Because I knew about the Neo Grip, right? And I actually tried the Neo Grip at first, and I thought it was super comfortable. I just didn't like the lack of detachable Joy-Cons. And one thing I will say right now, just because this will be a concern for people, I noticed on Amazon a couple of reviews were saying that there is the same Joy-Con detachment issues that the kill switch had a couple months ago, and there are videos vouching for this, and I also have seen this happen to me. One thing I will note though is that I've had this grip for maybe about a week and a half, and I did not know this was an issue until I saw the Amazon reviews. So I just want to bring this up now because I want to be upfront about this and say that this is a voice of concern of mine, and this could very much be a reason why you don't get this fishing grip and you instead go for like the Neo Grip if you want this kind of grip. It's just, I know a lot of people don't like that. As I said, literally any slightest amount of like holding onto the console and just not holding it very loosely makes this a non-issue. However, I do understand that a lot of people do not want their consoles to be that vulnerable to being damaged. So if this is a deal breaker for you, definitely like, be wary of that. So onto the actual grip itself, because I guess I could review it, but this is functionally the same as the Neo Grip. It's just in a detachable Joy-Con form. So I like the application process. It's very simple. It kind of just slides into place like this, and you kind of pull the trigger back, and then it, this kind of locks it in place so that it doesn't go loose. And I think that's a really nice application process. And then let me snap this back on. What? Oh, come on. There we go. And then the other Joy-Con kind of just comes off, and then same process. You just take it, slide it in. Let me just flip it over, make sure this is all on camera, and boom, done. And then in. And this is very comfortable in my opinion. This does everything that I wanted the grips to do. If you remember, one of my favorite grips was the JSaw split case. And what I said was, I thought it was an awesome grip. I thought it resolved a lot of the palm rest issues. I thought it was just a very comfortable grip. I just wasn't a fan of how heavy it was, and this kind of seems to balance this out. You're getting comfort, you're getting somewhere for your palms to go, you're getting a lot here, and in my opinion, this is a very, very comfortable grip. It's not heavy. I know some people don't like the material, and I can very much understand that that disregard, I guess, but I don't find it bothers me. Again, this is just way too comfortable for me to be like, oh, the grips, it's perfect for me in my opinion. I love the fact that the Joy-Cons come off. This is just a very comfortable grip for me. And I will say too is one of the key points of the Savage Raven grip is that you get the interchangeable Joy-Con. So you actually get 3 of them, right? You get, what is it? It's like a base grip or like a very simple grip. I forget what it's called, but it's just like a little thing. I'm going to be honest, I'm not even going to discuss it because it basically adds nothing to the ergonomics. I don't even think it's worth talking about. It's just whatever. So I'm actually going to take these off real quick and come back to these last, but next up, this is the Plus grip, as we can see. So let me just slide these on. I like the application process. It's very simple. You kind of just take it, you go around, line it up, and get it right. And then it just very easily, just clicks into place like that. And there we go. So it just clicks in, and then you get that. So I'll leave that right there. And then, is this it? Yep, this is it. And then we take this, slide this off. Let me just turn the console off fully. There we go. All right. So, and then this comes up, and as you can see, it's really easy once you know where to put it. Just slides in like that, and then here we go. Joy-Cons on. So this is the Plus grip. They call it. This is the biggest option for the grips. I'm kind of gonna talk through what I'm feeling right now. This is, in my opinion, this grip was a little too big for me. I just found it to become a little bit exhausting to hold for gameplay, just because it felt a little too big for my hands. It kind of wraps around the hand more like a traditional video game controller. You get like this nice little let me just pop off the Joy-Con so I can actually show you what I'm looking at. This is, see, like it's this very like chunky little like thing you hold on to, and it feels really comfy in the hand, and I'm not gonna deny that, but it feels really nice. Like it just wraps around nicely. You're not getting necessarily something molded to the hand in the way like some of the other grips are, but the fact that it's just so darn bulky is a big advantage in my opinion. As I said, the main issue was just that this one was a little too big for me, and I just found it to be a bit uncomfortable. Fucking Goldilocks and the 3 Nintendo Switch 2 grips over here. But what I found to be my winner grip was the middle ground grip, the trigger grip, which I will get right back on right now. So let me do that. And then, as I said, application process is just offensively simple. It just kind of, you take the grip, slide it in place, and you click, and then you do that. And then let me take my other Joy-Con like that. You take this one and then line it up like that, clicks, and then there you go. So this is the trigger grip. This is the middle size grip, and this is probably my favorite grip, and generally the one that I think most people are going to enjoy the most. You're getting that very triggery shape that like things like the dbrand Killswitch provide, but in a more, I guess, bulky shape. Like you can see right here, kind of like outwardly goes out off the console, and I think that's really, really important and just overall helps with comfort. So I'll actually take it off real quick just so that way you can get a better look at it. Oops. But you can see it like you get the trigger shape, it kind of molds around the hand, and you're getting this very, very comfortable like grippy shape, and it feels very good in the hands. It's hard to describe it, but it just molds to my hands very well. It gives my hands somewhere to go. It helps a lot with just general discomfort and like tension of like I'm holding onto the console too hard. And for me, at least, this has been the grip that's given me the least like discomfort overall. And as I said, I also put on the I'm keeping my the Killswitch grips, the thumbsticks. I just love them so much. They're so comfortable. So these are a keeper for me. And I guess some other things. It does come with a grip, or it also does come with a third cover piece. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it. I don't use the cover grips. I'm just, running it bare like this. I'm just not a fan. As I said, I just don't like how the cover pieces look, and I just wasn't a fan. It's pretty simple, honestly, but maybe you might prefer it. I don't think it's going to be the most protective thing. So if you're after protection, definitely look elsewhere. But if you just want something simple, and as I said, I'm more so after ergonomics than something that I could throw in a bag and know that it won't break, just because that's my priorities. However, it also there is an option where it does come with a case. I don't have a case for it. I probably will get one eventually because I just want to make sure that I actually wanted this grip. But As I said, this is a very comfortable grip in my opinion. This is probably the grip that I'm going to keep for now, at least. I don't see myself looking for new grips anytime soon, just because this seems to answer pretty much everything that I was concerned about the Killswitch. And as I said, I like the Joy-Con, the way the grips come off easily. I like the way the grips feel. This pretty much answers everything I wanted, and it's overall just a very comfortable grip. So I think that's really it for this, and I don't think I have anything else to mention. So if I have any closing thoughts, I will probably, just add in some stuff afterwards. And so overall, I think that's my thoughts on both grips. I'm going to keep this pretty brief, but I have both the Killswitch and the Savage Raven grip, and I will not be returning either. So if you want to ask me a question about them, if you want something very precise, feel free to put a comment feel free to put something in the comments, because I definitely will be able to get back to you reliably, and I will check out the grips for you. If you like what I do, if you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing. I hate to be pandery about it, but we're very, very close to 100 subscribers, and I really do think it's possible that we reach it by the end of December. I think that'd be awesome that, we're starting the new year with 100 subscribers. So if you like what I do, if you want to support me and you want an easy way to do so, definitely consider subscribing to me. I also am running a survey. I didn't mention it in my last upload, but I am doing a survey. If you would like to give me any direct feedback on the channel, on just any general advice or anything, I list a couple of curated questions for improving the channel. Feel free to go into that and provide some support there. But I think that's it for me overall. And if that's everything, then I think I'll end off now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next upload. Bye-bye.